What's up? What's up? Couch Hustler back at you. All right, deal number 21, 6501 Verdon. 6501 Verdon. This is all in the same area. So, in like between the year of, let's see, 2017, 2019. No, let's go back a little bit. Probably 16 through 19. I purchased about 5 houses all in the same build. Like they were all built by the same builder at the same time. And for some reason, I was able to take 5 houses in a neighborhood sub 2. It was pretty weird and cool. And one time I had 4 vacant, so I was making 4 mortgage payments on all those properties for like 2 months. Talk about not being able to sleep and drinking a little bit of tequila. This is probably where a lot of my tequila habits or bad habits came about because, it's stressful. It's a stressful thing. Like I said, real estate is probably one of the stressfulest things that you could ever be involved in. But it's quite rewarding, right? So all those properties ended up with equity. So I ended up making, almost 50 to 100,000 on each one of those properties. But man, I remember 4 months there that I was stressing. Those mortgage payments had to get made, and I honored those. So luckily I had some sales on some other properties and savings to be able to make those payments until I was able to put somebody in there. But talk about a stressful time. I remember it was kind of cool too to be able to check on those properties. I remember walking the neighborhood and walking to each house, and because vacant houses, but I'd walk them, check on them, throughout the day whenever I had nothing to do, and just kind of go inside of them. But I had all these properties vacant in the same neighborhood. Anyways, this deal was a good deal. Let's see, this was a divorce deal. I remember picking this one up. I went over to the house. It was just a door knock, basically. I put a door hanger, and when I was walking back to my car, the front door opened, and I always feel a little weird about it because I don't want to be that guy that, that's bugging you at your house. So usually what I do is just put a door hanger. That way it doesn't bother the person, and they'll run into my door hanger. Anyways, he probably had some security cameras at that time, like the Ring cameras were really big. Oh, no, he had, because I took it over. He had Vivint. Vivint had solar, plus they did security. So he seen that on the camera, opened the door on me. And I remember him saying something like, it looked like you were about to run. But it just scared me. It startled me. So anyways, I ended up talking to him. I got to walk the property at that moment. It was funny. And his ex-wife wasn't there at the time. I was like explaining to him how I could just take over their mortgage payments. They tried to sell the property, couldn't sell it. And with a realtor at the time, and I think it took 4 months, 6 months, but he was very eager to go ahead and get the deal done because he wanted to move forward with his chapter of life. Anyways, I think he explained it to her because I didn't meet her until the signing table, and I think he explained it to her, and she probably just wanted to be done as well. They were divorcing. And they ended up meeting me at the office, at my real estate office where I'm a realtor at this time. And we ended up doing the deal there. But I remember her being more not wanting to do the deal. Like, she didn't want to sign at the time. He was like, let's just do the deal. So anyways, they both signed, picked up the property. They were out like a week later. I don't even think she was living there anymore. He was out like a week later, ended up getting the property, went over there and got it done. It was easy deal, easy transaction. On that one, I sold it twice. The first person came through, put 20,000 down. Oh, he had a realtor. I think this is the first time I've ever paid commission to a realtor. So he had a realtor that was helping him buy properties, and I don't mind paying a commission. Obviously I come from a commission background, so it doesn't bother me at all. But he brought a realtor with him, and I negotiated the commission. I didn't give him like a full 3% of the sales price kind of thing. It was more like a $2,000 finder fee, still commission. And I think I even paid it cash. Like, he got lucky because he didn't have to run it through his brokerage or whatever. I just gave him like $2,000 cash after the deal was done, and he signed the paperwork and stuff, or helped sign the paperwork. But the end buyer ended up putting 20,000 down, or the lease to own option buyer put 20,000 down. He was there probably 2 months and gave it back. Honestly, he stopped making payments, and then I was calling him, and one time he got angry with me because I was chasing, the rent, like saying, hey, you're not making payments, what's going on? He got angry with me, and I didn't know what happened, and at that time I was like, all right, I guess we're just going to go through eviction. I go to the house one day, and no one answers, because I usually do 2 things on these eviction processes. I'll do the phone call, which is easy, or text, and try to get a hold of you that way. If I don't get any response, or somebody's not, getting back to me, then usually I'll do some type of a letter. If not, I'll just go straight to the property and I knock on the door. If you're not there, I leave a postcard, same process. Anyways, no one's there at this property. I even gave notice to entry because no one was answering the door, no one was answering the phones. I didn't know what was going on. So I ended up doing notice of entry. I get into the property, 24-hour notice. I go into the property. There's stuff there. Not a lot, but almost looked like it was kind of ransacked, but there was stuff there. So what I do, no one answers. I start putting all the stuff in the garage. No one's answering. No one. What do I do? How do I know if the guy's not in jail? How do I know if the guy died? No one's talking to me. No one's calling me. What do I do? So I start putting all the stuff in the garage. I go through the process of that. I get the property back. No one ever comes back. Honestly, I hear from the guy a year later because I sell it again. Obviously, I ended up renting it again. But, I'm just kind of jumping forward in the story here. I hear from the guy a year later. He never really told me what happened. He did call me and asked me and said, hey, I put $20,000 down. I did some improvements. He said, hey, it would be any way I could kind of cut him back some funds for he put a real nice patio in the back, and he probably spent about 10 grand on that patio. He asked me if I could give him 10 grand back for that. I don't know what happened there, but I just ignored the conversation. So anyways, end up selling it to the second guy. I put it for sale. The second guy calls me on a different property I have for sale, rent to own on East Bakersfield. I show him that one. And then I had this one available as well, which he ended up going for this one. So he goes for this one. He puts $20,000 down on this one, I remember. Makes payments. And this was after, because he's in there between the time frame right before COVID all the way to after COVID was over. And one day I get a call. This is the second person I get a call telling me, hey, do you think you could come over here? Not from the guy that I, sold it to and did the contract with. I think it was either his wife or a family member. They told me, you think you can come over to the property? And I said, yeah, I'll be right there because I want to collect rent. So, and they've always paid rent on time. Everything was golden, never had an issue with them, the second buyer. And I get there and I walk into the kitchen and I could see everybody in the kitchen kind of surrounding the counter. And I knew something was up. I was like, oh man, what's going on here? And the first thing that went to me in my mind was thinking maybe jail, incarceration. But they told me he died. And I was like, oh, he passed away. And they said, yeah, he passed away of COVID. And I was like, oh, he passed away of COVID. Young guy, man, I couldn't believe it. And I was like, dang, okay. So we had to think about what the next steps were going to be. In our contract at that time, he did owe me some money. It was like 20,000 or maybe 30,000 down. But he put half down and owed me another 10 or so, and that was coming due. So he was going to need to pay me that in the next, couple months, but obviously he couldn't. So I had to work out a deal with his wife and figure out what she was going to do, if she was going to be able to make the payments or whatever. But she ended up walking away from the property herself, moving back with family, and I got the property back. So I ended up getting the property back, and then I sold it. I no longer own that property. It's been sold. And I did pretty well on that one too, from the sale to the different down payments throughout the lease option people that were in there. But that was a second death that I experienced from a buyer. So, yep, kind of weird. But anyways, that was that one. So there it is, another sub-2 deal. Pretty easy transaction. It was a divorce, so that's how I got that deal. Usually, most of the deals that you pick up are going to probably be a divorce. Those are usually the easiest ones. But we'll see as times come now. I don't know, times are changing a little bit with all these transactions in real estate. Interest is changing, the economy is changing, everything's changing. So we'll see, what's going to happen. I'm out here door knocking every day trying to pick up properties, Hopefully you want to try and do the same thing. You should. Even if you just do one, even if you get one, you don't have to do this caliber of trying to make a living off of this stuff and being stressful and losing all your hair like I have over the past 23 deals, You could just buy a home this way. Let's say you do have a little bit of a stable income and you're working for one of these big companies and you just don't want to go through the traditional process of trying to get financing, but you can just go and take over someone's mortgage and get into a home, and now you'll be able to own a home and not have to go through the traditional sale. It's that easy, take advantage of that. It's something not a lot of people know of, but you can do it. It used to be very popular in the old days. People used to take over people's mortgages all the time, or I forgot what they called it. It was something assumable mortgages is something that you used to be able to do, I guess, in the early 80s and 90s. People used to do that. They don't do that any longer, but you can still do it. It's just not called that. It's called just taking over a deal sub-2. Essentially the same thing. So, you know, it's just a strategy to be able to own a home and not have to go through the traditional sale of qualifying. So it can be done. You can make the money and get into a home. So anyways, that's that deal. Stay continued. I'll keep posting all my deals. I still got about 3 more to go out of the stories here that I'm doing for the 23. But I will keep posting no matter what, whatever I have coming up. So Couch Hustler, always hustling. Have a great day.